What is Lookism? Essentially, Lookism is bias based upon one's appearance and consequently their level of attractiveness. Usually, people will treat others differently based upon their bias. Lookism is equally as prominent as issues such as racism, sexism, and classism, yet society normalizes it. Lookism is an instinctual response in which there is either an immediate attraction or repulsion. It is inevitable due to the fact that it is the only information available without knowing the person being judged. It cannot be denied that beauty is an important standard because discrimination based upon beauty affects the same aspects of everyday life as other forms of prejudice. The ABC News article, Victims Against Lookism Face an Uphill Battle, recounts instances where people face discrimination in the workplace based upon their appearance. The first case describes Joseph Connor, a 420-pound man who sued McDonald's for the discrimination and violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. He had been told for months that his uniform was not ready, but when he went to speak with the manager, he saw men he had been hired with who were already working without the uniforms. In another case, Samantha Robichaud filed a suit against McDonald's, claiming it discriminated against her when it denied her a management position because of a cosmetic disfiguration which left a large portion of her face purple. In San Francisco, Elisa Yanowitz, a former sales manager at L'Oreal, refused to fire a woman her superior said to on the basis of not being attractive enough. She became a victim of a campaign to try to get her to leave the company. She then filed a lawsuit, which was originally dismissed until an appeals court ruled she could file a claim on the grounds of sexual discrimination. The point was that appearance discrimination is not something that the law protects its citizens from, as a company's rights to have appearance standards is legal as long as it's applied evenly to workers. Research shows attractiveness can affect what workers earn, listing studies where attractive people earned up to 15% more than their counterparts. As the service sector continues its dominance of the U.S. economy and face-to-face contact becomes more important.
Many job applicants of all ages and races apply for jobs with a range of qualifications, and yet many times they don't get a call back, let alone losing the job to a less qualified but more physically appealing applicant. We can also use societal beauty standards to show the difference in social standing from one of our favorite but least talented reality show stars, the Kardashians. Despite being blatantly unintelligent, ignorant, and rude, Hollywood loves them. Why? Because they're thick.
Anything that you can visually see, I think you're going to judge it, even if it's 1% or 0.5%. Personally, I think that America's beauty standards are based off of Kylie Jenner, because like the thin waist, the thick thighs, the big boobs, the big butt, the full lips, 5,000 layers of makeup makes sense, right? You're doing it the wrong way. Instead of hitting the gym, making a perfect diet plan, eating healthy, doing all the right things to achieve that, they're doing drugs, starving themselves, taking pills. Basically, they're becoming more like dead zombies. That's where beauty standards become an epic failure, when people are doing all the wrong things which are affecting their daily life.
If you don't go by these standards society has built, you will not get far and have a hard time getting a good job or anyone to hire you. My own father, who is Korean, suggested multiple times that I should get surgery and that I should lose weight because I am too fat. My dad refuses to take me to Korea because of the way I look and how I will bring shame to him and his family. Lookism is inside everyone, so you're lying if you say that you don't instinctively make assumptions about someone based on how they look.
I think that everyone is beautiful in their own way. No matter what shape or form you are, you're you, and that's beautiful. About prettier women getting more jobs is really stupid. Like, it's not fair how they have more opportunities to get jobs because they're pretty. Like, really, really unfair. There's so many people out there that need jobs, that have like the education for it, they have the intelligence to get the job, and they can't get the job because they're not quote quote pretty. Like, everyone's pretty. Like, come on.
The new movement in modern society has shifted to viewing everyone as pretty, gorgeous, perfect. Now everyone is beautiful, and criticism on one's looks is not allowed. Compliments make us feel good, and we do our best to shut down negativity. Does this fight Lookism? No. We have not solved the problem. The problem is that we are still putting emphasis on one's appearance. While we are resisting negative judgments on one's looks, we are failing to eradicate the importance of appearance altogether. Why should we focus on calling everyone beautiful? Why should being beautiful even matter?
Now, let's take a look at lookism in our lives. We all have an ideal type. They look a certain way, they act a certain way. But does society associate the two with each other? For the normal human being, the honest, clear answer is yes. Looks are associated with charisma, with success, with happiness, and with the way we treat or view others. The question we're studying is, why do we not admit that lookism exists? Do we believe it is okay to judge or even hire a person based on their level of attractiveness, while judging a person based on the color of their skin is so publicly and unanimously taboo? Do we believe lookism is so wrong that we refuse to admit it exists, hiding our true feelings because we believe those around us do not feel the same? According to Sharia Hammer, a psychology researcher in Utah, lookism is simply under-researched. There are few discussions about this issue because society does not admit a mistake so hard to solve. Hammer also mentions that lookism is hidden because it is not a justifiable issue. One's preferences of another's looks are subjective, cannot be measured, and vary by person and over time. By this logic, and assuming we all judge others based upon their looks, is lookism justified? We interviewed students of Johns Creek High School to find out.
Have you ever felt yourself being judged for the way you look?
Yeah, because being not white and looking, the average norm, people have looked at me in different ways because of how I dress. So
I think we all have. You yourself place a lot more importance on the way people look at you than people do.
if she wears Nike Pro and a baggy t-shirt, I don't wear that. Really nice brands. When you see someone's like, oh, they're wearing nice Nikes or they're wearing nice Adidas, where I'm over here going to the dollar store and buying clothes.
It's a spotlight effect. You think people are looking at your massive breakout, but everyone's worried about their own breakout. Everyone has felt these things and has felt the pressure, and this pressure certainly exists, but a lot of it is internal.
Can you distinguish between judging someone and then acting upon those judgments and whether one is good or bad?
It's kind of a blurry line, there's a lot of implicit or underlying tone, which can also carry a lot of harmful implications when you interact with someone based on your assumptions of them. Just an assumption would be looking at someone and going, oh, they're stupid because they're fat. But I think acting upon that would be talking down to them in a patronizing manner, or would be to avoid them just a little bit.
So you've probably seen a bunch of scenarios like this on any type of social media like Instagram, where there's a fat person and she or he is obviously fat, but all of the comments are saying stop fat shaming. 99% of the comments are saying stop fat shaming. You are beautiful just the way you are. Don't, listen to the haters. And only maybe 1% is actually being rude and saying you're fat. How would that make you feel if you were the fat person?
First of all, I don't think it's rude to note that someone is fat. That's just a characteristic about their body. I do think that it is very performative to say you're beautiful just the way you are only on a fat person's Instagram, because that's saying, oh, I'm such a good person for not seeing you as ugly the way everybody else does. But that's just something you use to gain social capital. It makes you feel better about yourself, but it doesn't make anything better for the fat person themselves.
Have you ever made an assumption based on how someone looks?
Yeah. Yes, I have, 100%, not denying it.
Well, yes.
I think we all have. It's unrealistic to say that we haven't, because it's just an unconscious bias we have.
Last week, there was this new girl in my school. She looked really nice. When you looked at her, you would be like, whoa, she's probably the sweetest person in the world. But I found out that she was bullying this female, and it was pretty bad. The whole nice thing just flew out the window.
Oh, if he looks super good, then he has a lot of money and he's super successful, which is what society puts on us as their people.
I think in terms of attire, someone wore a Make America Great Again hat, and I was like, oh, probably racist.
That people definitely hold inherent biases.
I still made the assumption.
Assumptions based on someone's race or someone's ethnicity definitely happens to me.
I think it's wrong to judge someone based on how they look.
I think it's wrong to act on your assumptions on how they look. You can't change the immediate thought that happens in your mind. But if you go forward and like enact harm on someone because you made that initial assumption about them, that is wrong.
So, how important is beauty in everyday life as a society?
It's definitely pretty important. Like there's been like widely documented like things on how, you know, more beautiful people tend to succeed more in society.
Well, I noticed that people that are wearing Fashion Nova, Urban Outfitters, all of those expensive clothes, they have a perfect body. They're more noticed.
I think society does place a lot of importance on beauty as a concept itself, and I think that psychologically is very harmful, especially for women.
Ugly or, you know, unattractive. I feel like a lot of it has to go hand in hand with like gender discrimination and stuff.
You always have that pressure to always look like you're not giving up. I mean, I have.
I think that this age is more sensitive towards the teens because they're more like, oh, how do I look? And the people that apparently don't look good, they aren't noticed enough.
How important is appearance to you in a relationship?
Appearance to me is actually pretty important because I think it's the first thing that draws people to each other.
I mean, at first, it's nice if they look attractive.
You spend a lot of time together, so you want someone pretty good looking.
I feel like, in a way, the more attractive you are, the less personality you might have. You can just rely on your looks to get you by instead of working on your personality. It's not a good thing to be viewed as ugly in society, even though that we know that our self-worth isn't determined by our beauty. In a lot of cases, it really is by other people. Like your socioeconomic status. Literally, there's been this study that women who wear makeup get paid more than women who don't. I think that beauty, in terms of your place in society, is important, but it shouldn't define you.
The modern technology and our newfound obsession with social media has heightened the problem. Both women and men are scrutinized for their appearance. Heightism, weightism, and colorism are all serious issues today. The bias of appearance permeates the society, and it certainly plays a role in the workforce. Because look-based discrimination is more difficult to prove than racism and sexism, it is more difficult to recognize and combat the problem. So why ignore this matter? Is it that we are too ignorant to identify this issue? Or are we too afraid to acknowledge it, as it points out our ugliness as a society?